Hello there folks and welcome to the Football Games Room. I'm Josh and seeing as we're launching on April Fool's Day, today's topical team sheet is the Premier League April Fool's 11. Just to clarify, this is a squad of players who've been absolutely moronic in some way, whether that's on the pitch or in some rather hilarious cases, off it too. Starting off then with the goalkeeper. After going through the classic contenders like Massimo Taibbi and Roy Carroll, I've actually gone for another former United keeper, Mark Bosnich, who's taken the number one shirt in this team thanks to his sacking from Chelsea after failing a drugs test, getting banned from football for 9 months, and then developing a $5,000 a week cocaine addiction, which is what I call going out on a high. On then to the defence, the first of whom is another player whose inclusion is thanks to a drugs test, though not through failing one, but missing one. Of course, it's Rio Ferdinand, who was banned for 8 months after, in his own words, forgetting about the test because he was moving house and then opted to go shopping in Manchester instead. The next defender is Sol Campbell, who's in here, well, for many reasons really. From claiming he was never England captain because he's black, despite having taken the armband for a match in 1998 and again in 2005, to his legendary stint at Notts County, where he spectacularly quit 1 game into his 5-year contract at Meadow Lane. And the less said about his attempts to run as the Conservative candidate for London Mayor in 2016, the better. Rounding off the defence is another former Arsenal and Spurs defender, William Gallas, who, according to his first English club Chelsea, threatened to score own goals unless they let him leave, which I have to say I would have loved to have seen. Then, after getting his move to Arsenal, he had many mindless moments, most notably his strop after James McFadden equalised for Birmingham against the Gunners with a last-minute penalty in the same match, which saw his teammate Eduardo suffer a wince-worthy broken leg, and then being stripped of the Arsenal captaincy some 3 months after getting it, after criticising his teammates in an interview. I think it's best to group the first 2 midfielders together, given how they're in this squad for fighting each other on the pitch, despite playing for the same team. Kieran Dyer and Lee Bowyer both saw red, in pretty much every way possible. With the Magpies already down to 10 men against Aston Villa, Bowyer then accused Dyer of deliberately not passing to him, but instead of just ignoring his teammate, Dyer responded by saying, "The reason I don't pass to you is because you're shit, basically." And in the following scenes, which wouldn't have looked at a place in 50 Shades of Grey, Dyer was probably wishing that someone had reminded him of Bowyer's 2 previous convictions for a fray. Alongside Bowyer in the middle is of course Liverpool's Stevie G, who gave all fans, except perhaps his own, the fairy tale end to the 13-14 season. After beating title rivals Man City with just 4 games to go, Gerrard proceeded to gather his teammates around him in one of the falsiest demonstrations of leadership I've ever seen, bellowing in his strong Scouse tones, "This does not slip now." Well, fast forward 2 weeks, and not only does our man Stevie slip, putting Chelsea's Demba Ba throwing goals to score, but so do Liverpool's chances of winning their first Premier League title, with the 27th of April forever being known as Demba Day. The final midfielder is another Scouser, who's had so many chances and stints in jail, you'd think he was playing Monopoly. Joey Barton was also nearly fired by Man City after stubbing a lit cigar in the eye of youth player Jamie Tandy, broke a pedestrian's leg whilst driving at 2 a.m, and was sent home from a pre-season tour of Thailand after assaulting a 15-year-old Everton supporter. And even then, City rejected his transfer request. Most recently, he was banned from football for 18 months after admitting to an FA betting charge, and that's without mentioning the press conference he conducted in Fraus, a unique combination of French and Scouse, during his loan at Marseille. Kicking off the attack is arguably the biggest fool of the lot, Mario Balotelli. "Why always me?" he asked. Well, I'm sure setting his house on fire by letting off a firework indoors before being unveiled as Greater Manchester's ambassador for firework safety, throwing darts at a youth team player during training, being unable to put a training bib on by himself, having a training ground bust up with Roberto Mancini, and the small matter of scoring 1 goal in 2 years at Liverpool probably has a lot to do with it. The second striker is Adrian Mutu, who, like Bosnich, was sacked by Chelsea after failing a drugs test, with the Romanian being banned for 7 months during the 04-05 season after testing positive for cocaine use. And for any of the FIFA players among you, the name Andre Mergu may ring a bell or two. Well, that was the name used for Mutu by EA Sports, since he'd also been excluded from FIFA Pro, the International Federation of Professional Footballers, and therefore couldn't be licensed, which must also mean that his name on pairs remained unchanged. The final player in the starting 11 is the Italian maverick Paolo Di Canio, included purely for one of my favourite moments in football history. After being sent off for Sheffield Wednesday in a match against Arsenal, Di Canio then proceeds, in a rather passionate rage, to shove referee Paul Alcock to the ground, leaving him red-carded and with an 11-match ban. The manager, I feel, was a pretty easy choice. Malky Mackay was embroiled in the sort of texting scandal that would have had the news of the world foaming at the mouth. Following his dismissal by Cardiff City, the then-named Red Dragons subsequently alleged to the FA that Mackay had exchanged a series of racist, sexist and homophobic messages with sporting director Ian Moody. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to detail the messages here, but I can confirm that they can be found with a quick Google search. And finally, the subs bench. Goalkeeper Andy Marriott in there for his blunder during his time at Birmingham when he nonchalantly rolled the ball in front of him, unaware that Spurs striker Robbie Keane was right behind him. The defenders then, Alf Inge Haaland, who was just playing stupid for trying to take on Roy Keane, ending up with a severely broken leg and an early retirement for his troubles, and David Unsworth, whose desire to return to Merseyside saw him join Liverpool's very own Aston Villa from West Ham, but departed Villa Park after just a month, returning to Everton. The midfield subs are Granit Xhaka, who told Arsenal fans to F off after being subbed off against Palace, before being stripped of the armband which he'd only had for a month, just 3 days later, and Owen Hargreaves, whose accusations of maltreatment aimed at the Manchester United medical team, coupled with his series of cringe-inducing videos showing his supposed physical prowess, saw Man City sign him as a last resort. His single PL appearance for the club was not enough to earn a winner's medal, and he was released soon after, never to play again. The sub-strikers, Pierre Van Hooijdonk and Carlos Tevez, are two players who went on self-imposed stroppy sabbaticals, insisting they'd never return, before performing U-turns that even my driving instructor would have been proud of. Well, that's all from me. I hope you've enjoyed reminiscing about some of the most hilarious moments of the Premier League era, and let me know in the comments below which players you would have included, or if you've got any suggestions for future episodes. And if you'd like to see more of our content, then make sure you hit that subscribe button.